What's up, everyone? The boys are back. Episode 61 of Around the Felt, our NFC West recap episode. Reagan, not going to lie, a lot of news happened the past 2 days. A lot of great players getting released, specifically in the secondary. I don't know about you. I'm excited to dive into the news. But first, how are you doing today, my friend?
Great. No complaints on my end. Happy to be doing the podcast. As you can see around the felt here, I'm ready to go.
See,
We're
I'm
figuring
also
out that.
around the Felt.
Oh my God. Not one, but two felt tables. Come on now.
Two felt tables. That's how we roll now. That's how we roll
Yeah.
on the Zoom world, guys. I know you saw, if you tuned in the last episode, we did have a couple guests on, Kenny and Walmart. Shout out to them. That was awesome. Hey, you guys want to hop on the pod? Just let us know, man. We'd love to talk ball with any felt fan out there. All right, brother.
I will
Let's dive
never.
in.
I will never refer to Kenny as Kenny. It's Pop Tart from now on.
It's Pop Tart. Yeah, I can't believe he
Pop-Tart.
was shocked when we called him Pop Tart. We're like, dude, that's how you submitted your name into the questions. You were Pop Tart. So
Yeah.
I do. That's a good nickname for the guy. All right, Reagan. Let's start off with the news. The Broncos released All-Pro and Pro Bowl safety Justin Simmons, who since 2016 leads the league in interceptions with 30. Wild, Reagan. Did not see that one coming. Obviously, the Russell Wilson contract has a big factor in that. What were your thoughts on Justin Simmons getting released, and what are some potential landing spots you think would be suitable for him?
Dude, I have no idea what the Broncos are doing right now, to be honest. Like, I guess the Russell Wilson thing has to be done, but they're just getting all that money off the books, but they're gonna owe so much. So I thought that was interesting. And with him, I'd say any contender. I mean, you got to think Philadelphia comes to mind right away. Who else? Dallas. You could see the Bills maybe if he goes there on a cheap deal after they just released
Jordan Poyer. We'll get into
Poyer.
that. There's
Yep.
no way they sign a veteran safety after releasing Poyer and Tre'Davious White, but we'll get into that.
No, but my point would be if he's going to take a cheap deal. That's the thing. It really depends on where Simmons is at. Like if he wants to go to a contender on like a team friendly deal. And also they could make the money work, but also you're right, at the end of the day, like a veteran for a veteran doesn't exactly add up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll dive into how the market's shaping out for this position and other positions in a little bit, but it's a very saturated market. We talked about it the other day with Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams getting released. Micah Hyde's also a free agent. I don't know, man. I mean, for a guy like Xavier McKinney that's 24 years old and he's a free agent, seems like he might get paid the most just due to his age because all these other veterans are kind of sitting around 29, 30, 31 years old. I don't know if it's going to be a lot of one-year prove-it deals, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the safety market's one of those positions, like you were saying, it's not a premium, so
No.
it's going to be outside of the running back position. It'll probably be one of the most interesting positions in this offseason. And I think once the first big safety signs, all the dominoes will fall. Same way with the running backs, all the dominoes will fall. And even the quarterback position, it seems like it all comes down to Kirk Cousins. And a lot of teams, like whoever gets Kirk Cousins, you'd imagine they're one of those teams that we've been debating. Are they going to draft a rookie quarterback? So a lot of dominoes are going to fall. Be ready.
I know. It'll be interesting.
ready.
I think we're 2 weeks away? It's March 15th, free agency open. So week and a half, I believe.
Yeah. So the news will be massive on that day. We might spend 30 minutes just on that segment, just being like, blah, 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 sign there. Blah,
He
blah,
signed
blah,
here,
sign
he
there.
signed there. We might have to spend an
Saquon
hour
Barkley
just
to
talking
the
about.
Cowboys. Blah,
No,
blah, blah, sign
dude,
there.
come on. Yeah, that's actually funny you said that. My boy C-Wack, he tunes in. He texted me today, goes, Tom, I got a really important question. And I hit him up and I go, no, I don't want to hear the Saquon shit. I already know where you're going with this. He goes, should I get the Kelly green, the original green, or the white Saquon jersey? I'm like, get out of here, bro. He's not going to Philadelphia. He'll be back in blue.
Me as a Jet fan, there's nothing more I'd love than Saquon either going to the Cowboys or the Cowboys or the Eagles.
I'd cry. I'd actually cry.
I would laugh so hard. It'd be hilarious.
March 13th.
March 13th is free agency. Thank you, Drock, for checking on that. And we already mentioned, Reagan, the Bills released Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White to get under the cap. This is what happens, man, when you have your star quarterback and that second contract kicks in, when they're now at the top of the market, you have to let go of good players that, I mean, Tre'Davious White's been hurt a lot the last couple years. Jordan Poyer's been there forever, but past their prime guys with big cap hits, teams have to move on.
Well, and that also kind of goes to my point the other day that me and Walmart were kind of going back and forth. Like the Bills Super Bowl window is closing. Like, yes, he is right in the sense that it's never fully closed if you have Josh Allen, but this team is not nearly as talented as it was 2 years ago, even last year, 3 years ago. Like, they're not going to be coming in like previous years where they were the Super Bowl favorites over the Chiefs, even like coming into
Nah,
the year.
no,
So
they won't be. They won't
now
be.
they're going to be like 6-7, but can't see this team winning a
Yeah,
Super
I was
Bowl
gonna say
right
that
now.
5 to 8 range. Eight's
Yeah.
probably too far down, honestly, with Josh Allen. But yeah, probably I'd say 5 to 7 range makes
Because
sense.
I'm taking the Bengals over them in a heartbeat with all the cap space they have. They
Oh,
they
me
can match
too.
them at the quarterback position, but they're a lot more talented everywhere else. So
I'd agree with you. Even though that defense for Cincinnati wasn't great last year, but I still do agree with you. I will take Cincinnati over Buffalo next year, as it stands right now.
yeah,
Jalen Johnson, the corner, and the Bears agreed to a 4 year, $76 million contract. He wasn't all pro last season. He was 24 years old. Seems like a good deal for both parties, man. The Bears paid Montez Sweat. Now they pay Jalen Johnson. They still have a ton of cap space, but this is what you want. This is how you build a good franchise. Draft them, develop them, pay them. That's the recipe for success.
yeah, or have an elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. So it helps with all the cap space, like you mentioned, and obviously they have 2 first-round picks. Whether or not they draft Caleb Williams at the first, you'd imagine they'll probably address a defensive player with the second one. And I'd
Or
say,
receiver.
from a gambling perspective, if they take Caleb Williams and then they take a defensive player, bet them both offense and defensive player of the year because the past 2 years,
Rookie of the
offense
year, you mean?
or rookie of the year, yeah. Because looking at the Jets and the Texans, so either
Yep.
the Bears or Cardinals, they're the only 2 teams right now with 2 picks. So if they both go offense defense with their 2 picks, sprinkle a little bit if
Sprinkle.
you like money.
A little sprinkle.
Just follow the money trail. Follow it.
Yeah, I do love Jalen Johnson though. He was a stud last year. I mean, good
Well,
sign
yeah,
for the
I mean, he was
Bears,
an all
man.
pro. He was an
He
all
was,
pro.
yeah,
So
he was a stud,
if
and he was
that's
showing
not a
flashes
stud, I don't know
before
what
that.
is.
I know there was a lot of talk during the season too with Jalen Johnson. He was pretty outspoken about it. He's like, I want to be a Bear, but at the same time, I know how good I am and I know what I'm worth. And then he backed it up, man. All pro season. Got to tip the cap to Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Some Giants news, Reagan. Darren Waller is mulling retirement right now. It'd be nice if you let the team know before free agency starts. So they know whether or not a tight end is in need. But, this late in the process, now we're in March, for him to be considering retirement, not a good sign after the Giants gave up a third round pick for him just last year.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously helps when you're married to a WNBA player who's making a solid chunk of money as well. So, I mean, I'm sure that's not the main reason, but I'm sure that's also a factor. He probably wants to watch his wife, who's elite in her sport, versus him, who's clearly not elite anymore. I wouldn't necessarily say he's washed, but he's definitely injury ridden, and I definitely had question marks for that signing. I didn't hate it, or I mean, I'm sorry, that trade because you didn't give up much, but I didn't think he was going to do much, and clearly we were proven right. Unfortunately, I just think at this point he just cannot stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and this is now 3 years in a row where he has not been able to play or even come close to the level he was at early on with Oakland.
Yeah, you 100% hit the nail on the head there, Reagan. It just sucks, man, because he was so dominant for the Raiders a couple years ago. He was dominant in camp last year for the Giants, and obviously the wheels came off before they could even get going on the track, man, with the injuries in week one. And then Jones got hurt and never really got a rhythm. Then he hurt his hamstring. He's out for a month and a half. He comes back. It's the Vito show. It's Tyrod, but he just wasn't the same player. And it sucks because like all of Giants Twitter was blowing up. All the beat reporters like, wow, Darren Waller is unguardable right now. Like he's a stud. And that was always the risk. That's why you got him for a late third round pick, because obviously he can elevate your offense to a really high level when you have an elite tight end that's a mismatch like that, but just can't stay healthy. He also is starting up a music career, so maybe that's part of it for him. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of his music personally, but good for him if that's what he wants to do. Just let the Giants know kind of soon, because I don't know. Maybe Brock Bowers is in play if Darren Waller retires.
Yeah, and I think I speak for all Giants fans. Like you will be remembered as a legend for the franchise. Like
I don't think so.
whenever
I
you
don't think anyone's gonna say that, bro. I don't think
when
that's coming out of. Oh yeah, so is freaking CJ Uzoma, Jets legend, right?
yeah, coming from yeah, just and honestly, I'll put him up there with like Kenny Galladay. Like he's on the Mount Rushmore for the Giants
Oh,
of like best signings and or not signings because they traded, but best ads. So Darren, if you do decide to retire, like We will always appreciate everything he did for the team.
Yeah. Darren's right up there with Nate Solder, with Golden Tate, with Kenny Galladay. You know, it's a really great Mount Rushmore we've had the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Reagan, something that I saw today from Diana Rossini, she was talking to general managers and they said they're treating the running back, the safety, and the linebacker markets like recent years, where it's really saturated with a lot of good players, but the positional value always comes into play. It's going to be a suppressed market. A lot of players that want to get paid, but aren't going to get paid as much as they were looking for. We mentioned it with the running back market, obviously. That happened last year. Now, with all these safeties that are free agents, these veteran safeties that are in their upper 20s and lower 30s, and the linebackers, it just seems like they're not going to get paid as much as they want. GMs are like, we're going to pay the offensive tackle. We're going to pay our corners. We're going to pay our receivers. We're going to pay our quarterback. We're going to pay probably anyone on the offensive line at this point, but we're not going to pay safeties. We're not going to pay linebackers. We're not going to pay running backs. What do you think is going to be the top of the market for these positions? Like the top paid safety, I believe, is Derwin James. I think he's making 19 and a half a year. I think the highest paid safety this year is probably to be McKinney, given he's 24, coming off a really good season last year. He was top 5 in PFF's rankings. But all the other guys are just older. And then with the running backs, obviously 26, 27, 28 years old, no one wants to invest a ton of capital in them and guaranteed money. I don't know, man. What do you who do you think is gonna be the top of the market? I think Barkley might be top
I
of the
mean,
market for running backs.
if McKinney can be the top of the market, especially a team like the Giants who do have some cap space and they're not going to want to lose a cornerstone guy, so I think he can actually get over that 20 million threshold.
No
Uh,
way he gets over
I do.
20.
I do. I think somebody will give it to him,
No
dude.
way.
I think so, dude. I think somebody's going to overpay. There's a lot of teams that are looking that will overpay. Trust me, man. I'm a Jet fan. Like we've had a lot of years where we've had cap space and we've overpaid guys to come play for the Jets because it's hard when you're a bad team. Like even though the Giants are in a big market, like when you're not in a good spot, even if he decides to leave, like there's a lot of teams not in a good spot with a lot of cap space that are just going to throw the money at him just to get him in there.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point, man. And he is 24 years old. You know, he's got a lot of tread on his tires. But
I
also his
think he'll.
agent, I think his name's David Mulgeta. He's like the agent for safeties. I think 4 of the top 5 highest paid safeties are all his clients. So he's going to be a tough negotiator. He said today on Kay Adams' show, Up and Adams, that he wants to be a Giant. They're talking, but they have some stuff to figure out. And clearly what it is the money. And that's why they didn't tag him. They're letting him see what his market value is. But I bet him and Barkley were both told by the Giants, come to us before signing anything, and we'll let you know if we can match it. That's how I'd imagine it's going to play out.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. Honestly, at the running back position, I mean, you'd imagine it's going to be Henry or Saquon.
You think Henry gets paid more than Jacobs?
Yeah, I do. Just
Even
because,
though he's how many? What is he? 2 or 3 years older than him?
well, in what sense are you talking? Because I think Henry might have make more per year, but on a shorter deal. You know what I mean?
I
Like I
think
think,
Henry probably gets a 2 year deal, and I think Jacobs gets a 3.
yeah, but I could see Henry's being worth more. But
What
Jacob,
about
you
the
know what I mean?
AAV? So you think the average amount per year will be higher for Henry than Jacobs?
Yes, yes.
Really
Just because,
interesting.
yeah, just because if you're giving me 1 year, who are you going to take? Henry. But long term, I'd rather Jacobs.
Jacobs is 4 years younger than Henry.
Yeah.
4? There's no way Henry gets more.
No, I'm saying per year because I think he's going to get a small deal or a short term deal because nobody's going to give him the 3 to 4 year deal. Like Jacob might get a 4 year deal, but like I only be like 8 million, where Henry might sign a 2 year deal for 20 million.
Yeah, I think Henry probably gets like 2 years, 18.
Still, that'd still be more. Like I think Jacobs is more in the ballpark of like 4 years, 32 million, or 4 years.
Oh, he's not getting 32 guaranteed. There's no shot.
Oh no, I'm not saying guaranteed, but I'm just saying the whole contract.
Oh, okay,
Like it
okay.
might be
Yeah,
half guaranteed.
I think the guarantees are going to be in the low 20s for Barkley and Jacobs.
Yeah, well, but that's my point. I think Henry may have the highest deal in terms of per year, but it's going to be the shortest contract out of all of them.
Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. All right, that wraps up the news. Drock, what do we got for questions today?
Not too many. I think we have 3 total
Business is booming.
questions. Yeah, but we got Aussie's coming in clutch with trivia for Drock. So,
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
all right. First question, not an NFL question, but what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win at UFC 299 from Aussie?
Yo, it's a loaded card. We love our UFC. You see, I got my Adesanya Pereira poster in the back. I got to go with Sean O'Malley, man. I think Sean O'Malley gets it done. He's a sniper. I don't think Cheeto Vera is going to hit him in the nerve again in his leg. That happened
Well,
4 years ago. Are
if
you
you're
a
gonna call
Cheeto
any,
fan, Reagan?
I am. Or at least more than O'Malley. But also, if you're gonna call someone a sniper, you should call Cheeto Vera a sniper because clearly he sniped the nerve in his leg.
Oh, come on. Come
If we're
on.
calling someone a sniper, I mean, if we're calling someone a sniper, I mean, like he's, I don't know. O'Malley more, when I think of him, he brings the hammer, he brings the boom. But yeah, so I'm down to go through all five, like the five main card fights, and say who we think will win. We don't have to get into like a ton of details. So we'll start out with the first of the main card. It's Yan versus Yadong, or Song Yadong versus Peter Yan.
Yep. I'm gonna
Piotr.
go. I don't know.
I'm just
This
gonna go
one's
with
really
Piotr.
tight for me. I kind of want to go Piotr, but I don't
I'm
know.
going Piotr.
It seems like Piotr's lost a step. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know if he has. I genuinely think he beat O'Malley last time he fought him. I thought that was rigged. I think that was fully because
A lot of people said that.
O'Malley sells fights, and why would you not, like, if it's a close call, like, they're obviously, it was a close fight. I'm not gonna say Jan definitely won, but I think he deserved it. I just think if it's close enough that you can go either way, like, they're gonna go with a guy who's from America and will sell fights. Like, O'Malley sells shit. Like, a Russian guy who doesn't speak good English just doesn't sell fights.
That's fair, but also I don't think the judges are sitting there thinking that. I don't know. It's a huge thing. It's a
Yeah, I
huge
mean,
thing with the
I'm
judges. It was a
sure
split
they're not.
decision, so
Yeah, you're right. They're probably not thinking that, but they're paid to think that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. My boy Ryan's coming, and you know Ryan, he's gonna go with Song Yadong, so I might have to ride with my boy Ryan and with this one and go Yadong.
yeah, it's a dumb call, Ryan.
What's next, Reagan?
All right, next up, after that, we got a big one. Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena.
I like Gilbert Burns a lot. It sucked when we went to UFC 288 in Prudential Center. That's when he fought Bilal Muhammad and he like tore his shoulder in the first round. So I mean, he stayed alive. He didn't get knocked out. He survived the 5 rounds, but I am a Gilbert Burns fan. So with this one, I am going to go Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm also going with Gilbert Burns. Honestly, he looked so good against Kazmat, even though he lost that. Like, he beat Wonder
did.
Boy, he beat Magny, he beat Masvidal, and like you said with Muhammad, who I think it's kind of bullshit. That guy has not got a title fight yet. Like, he should be fighting Leon. That fight
I
got.
hate him. I don't care.
You might hate him, but like, you looking at the track record, he's just been on a huge winning streak outside of that one no contest with Edwards. So
I know, but he was shitting on New Jersey when he was at the Prudential Center, and I was like, all right, fuck you, bro.
yeah, fuck you. Jersey's the best state in the world. Like, I would never shit on my own state.
Facts. What's next, Reagan?
All right, next up we got Kevin Holland versus Michael Page. I mean, the thing with Kevin Holland is
Venom Page.
Kevin Holland's like the most active fighter I saw since 2017. He's fought 34 times.
That is actually nuts.
Yeah, he's like a ridiculous. Actually, let me make sure that's correct. But
It's like 5 fights a year.
let's see. I just saw. I'm sorry, not 34 times, 26 times since.
Oh, okay, a little bit off there, but it's all
but
right.
still 26 times since 2017. So, and that's
Still
there
a
was
ton.
and COVID, like, made it weird too with the fight. So that's a lot of fights. That's 3 fights a year, bro.
Venom
And
Page has a lot of hype. I think he's coming over from what, PFL, Reagan? Am I not
I
mistaken with
believe
that?
so. Yeah, this is his first UFC fight, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah,
I'm
he's
gonna
no,
go
no, no,
Venom
he's coming.
Page.
He's coming over from Bellator.
Bellator. Well, now they're
Yeah,
together as one, but yeah, coming over from Bellator.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Venom Page, dude. I don't know. I'm just gonna buy into the hype here.
yeah. I mean, Kevin Holland fights so damn much, but like, I feel like he just I don't know.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, dude.
No, you
I'm
know
I'm
what?
not gonna sit here and say I've
I'll
watched.
go with
Venom
Page just
fight.
because I feel like every time I watch Holland, like he just fights so damn often that I feel like he's not nearly as fresh as, like, I mean, I give him respect though, but when you fight that damn much, like, I feel like you're just taking a toll on your body and you can't take the shots you once could.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Next, we have Dustin Poirier
Diamond.
versus
Well, that fight might
Benoit. How do you pronounce it?
yeah, it's
Benoit
Saint Denis.
Yeah, Benoit
Benito
Saint
Saint
Denis.
Denis. I
Poirier's a
don't know.
big dog, dude. He's what, plus
He is a
170?
big dog, but this fight might not even happen now. There's a
Why?
chance it gets canceled. Apparently, uh, I mean, I saw it from a source. It said allegedly he has a staph infection, so there's a chance the fight gets canceled. I mean, we'll see
Who,
what
Poirier?
happens. No. Saint Denis.
Oh wow, that would suck, dude. That would
Yeah.
suck if
So,
that fight gets canceled.
and I mean, I would imagine they'll just throw him some guy that's like, hey, I could fight Dustin Poirier and on 2 days' notice. Like, yeah, I'll lose, but like, I get revenue shares. I get to
Volkanovski.
fight. I don't know. I
What
mean,
if Volk's like, I'll step in?
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go with Dustin here, just because he's been very kind to me. Cashed a couple parlays for me. He always clutches it up
Whoa, whoa,
when
whoa,
I
whoa!
need him
You can't just
most.
say cashed a couple parlays. You got to tell the story, bro. How you
Yeah.
cashed?
Okay. Yeah.
You
So,
caught the whale, dude.
back in the day, I hit a 10 to win 1.8K parlay where Michael Chandler knocked out Dan Hooker as the seventh leg, and then going into the last fight, I thought I had McGregor over Poirier, but I actually had the reverse. So it ended up working out because that was when Poirier knocked out McGregor for the first time.
Yes.
And everyone's like chirping me, like, why didn't you hedge? Why didn't you hedge after the first round? Because I think Connor won the first round.
Yeah, Connor looked good in the first round.
He looked good, and it was like, oh boy. And then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Knocked him out. I'm gonna go with Poirier too, bro. I mean, I took Connor both times they fought because I'm more of a Connor fan than a Poirier fan. I bet with my heart, not my head. But yeah, I mean, Poirier's just a
Don't we all?
bulldog, dude. He's just a bulldog. Just seeing him lose is, I don't know. It was kind of sick when Gaethje kicked him in the head, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Poirier.
All right. And obviously the main event, O'Malley versus Cheeto. Who you
Sugar
rocking
Sean,
with?
the best bantamweight in the world. No, he's not. It's actually not O'Malley, but yeah, I'm gonna go with O'Malley in this one. Marab's gonna beat them both. I'm not gonna lie. Whoever wins, Marab's beating him.
I mean, yeah, his cardio is crazy. He'll just wrestle either of them and probably dominate the whole time. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Cheeto here. Honestly, there, I think he's a sniper. We've seen him
What's
snipe
the line on
O'Malley
this?
before.
Do you know the line on it?
Sugar
Cheetos.
is minus 270.
Wow, I didn't know he was that big of a favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with Cheeto, just because I'm betting with my heart, not my head.
Yeah, that's definitely bet with your heart. All right, Dave, what do we
Yeah.
got next?
All right. Two-part question. Colin, how do you feel about Jason Kelsey retiring? And are you happy that your Giants don't have to deal with him anymore?
100%. I mean, you got to tip the cap. Phenomenal career. Love Jason Kelsey as a person, but I mean, he still was at the top of his game when he retired, which is pretty much every NFL player's goal, right? Like you want to retire when you're still a stud instead of on your last legs and, you're battling injuries. So hats off to him, but thank God we don't have to deal with him anymore. I will say he did say Dexter Lawrence was the hardest guy to block in the league. So I do have some respect for Jason Kelsey, shouting out our boy Sexy Dexy. This is definitely big for the division, though. All those old guys on the Eagles are now going to start retiring, and the division's going to flip. Give it a year or two. Give it a year or two.
Well, yes, too. So
Yeah. That's all the questions for Aussie. Austin, thank you. We're gonna get to your trivia questions when Drock's time is gonna shine. We're hopping to Caleb.
What
Caleb
up, Caleb?
asked, is Puka the best receiver in the division?
yes,
No,
yes.
no. You love Puka Nakua more than anyone, and I don't blame you because you stashed him on your taxi slot in Dynasty. Like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this guy Puka Nakua, and it obviously paid dividends for you winning a title this year.
Who's
But
better?
Brandon Ayuk's a better player.
Yeah. Okay. How many? Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Brandon. How can you say he's better? Hasn't even had a Puka had every Brandon Ayuk has never even had a season as close to Puka had in his first year.
What do you mean? How many yards did Puka have this year?
1,500.
Yeah, and Ayuk had like 1350, and Ayuk got way less targets, and Ayuk led the league in yards per reception.
Okay.
And Ayuk has to share the field with Debo Samuel, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey.
Okay. He still shares with Cup. I don't care.
Yeah, but Cup was banged up in the beginning of the year, and then I mean, he's better. He was better than Cup last year. He's better than Cup right now.
I'm not gonna fault him because I'm not gonna be like, well, he
How
doesn't
many
have as many
yards did
guys
you
to
say?
compete with.
How many yards you said Puka had?
1,500. Did he not?
1486.
How
All
many did
right.
Ayuk have?
My bad. My
Can
bad.
you check
All right.
Ayuk,
You know what?
Dave?
Throw this whole thing out. I'm a liar. I lied.
I'm gonna go with Ayuk still over him. I mean,
I mean,
Debo's a
Nah.
conversation, but
How many did you say?
around 1350.
1342.
All right.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
pretty
both
damn
lied. So
close.
throw the debate out.
Well, I was closer. I was closer.
Yeah, but we both lied. Unless you hit the hammer on the nail, it ain't worth it. Yeah, I mean, Puka still had over 100 catches and 1,400, almost 1,500 yards in his rookie year. It's kind of hard to not say him already because I mean, dude, the sky's the limit with this guy. Like, it's only year one. Like, he could do so much more, so
I
much
know,
more.
dude. Don't get me wrong. Puka Nacua is a stud. Like you got to tip the cap, but I'm still gonna go Ayuk. And I mean, it's a division with loaded wide receiver talent. Obviously, you go to Seattle, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, Jigba. Cardinals probably gonna get Marvin Harrison. Obviously, they're not right now. Haven't seen him yet. And then with the Niners, Debo and Ayuk, it's a good division for wide receivers for sure. Puka's second for me though. Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it, Rock? Is that all you got?
That's all the questions.
All right, guys. Quick break, and then we're gonna come back and give our team grades.
What's up, everyone? I've been telling you about Warner Law Firm. They're our newest sponsor, and we want to tell you more. So there's times in life where maybe you do something where you get in trouble, whether it's little or big, and you're gonna need help. I know me. I didn't have an easy pass. I blew right through that toll without an easy pass, got a ticket. I talked to Warner Law. They were able to talk me through the best way to fight it, and they bailed me out big time. I don't have to pay for it now. Thank you, Warner Law.
We're back from that break. Come on. What an interesting beginning segment it was, right? I mean, come on. So much news, not a lot of questions. You guys are slacking on the questions. Not cool. But I digress. So let's get into the grades. Obviously, one of these teams was much worse than the rest of these teams. So let's get into the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals, Reagan, 4-13 this season, 19th in total offense, 24th in scoring. They were 25th in total defense, 31st in scoring. What did you land on for the Cardinals, my friends?
C- because Kyler came back super late and they actually beat some really good teams this year. They beat the Eagles, they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Rams once, I believe. And who was the other one they beat? Fuck. Like all their they beat the Falcons too.
They beat the Colts.
No, it was the Falcons. And I don't know if they actually beat the Rams. I know for a fact they obviously beat Dallas and Philadelphia. Those were their two signature wins. But Kyler, man, he looked good when he came back, and that offense played a lot better. Trey McBride, a guy I was beating the drum on early on before he even came to the role, because I think me and Colin were talking about like, hey, or I think Crampton asked the question. He was like who's a guy you want to get? Like, who's a guy you don't like? And I was like, I don't like Zach Ertz because he's taking all of Trey McBride's targets. Like, this guy's being limited. Like, he's very talented. And sure enough, they get rid of Zach Ertz. He's on Walmart.
They listen to you, bro.
Now.
They heard the pod. They're like, this guy's onto something. Let's get this McBride guy some more targets.
And now he's on Walmart's Commanders. So now Trey McBride had a hell of a year. I think he's the number one dynasty tight end. Some people say Laporta. There's definitely a debate there. I'm fine with you. Anyone saying
I
Laporta
lean Laporta.
as well.
I take Laporta, but you could debate it.
But in my mind, those are the top two dynasty tight ends right now. And honestly, for next year, they could be the 1 and 2 tight end taken even over Kelsey. But that doesn't matter right now. Obviously, you would hope they draft Marvin Harrison in the draft, and then with their later pick from Houston,
defense,
they can go many spots. They could go defense. They could go offense. I think you go best player available because they got
go anywhere.
They can go anywhere. And I think I'm happy they're sticking with Kyler because that was another thing we were debating because we thought they were a shoo-in for the number 1 pick. Would you rather Caleb Williams or Kyler? I'd rather Kyler at this point.
Yeah, that debate.
I think he looked great this year, and also I think he's a dark horse for the MVP next year. I really do.
Ooh, that's a hot take. Hit that bell. Hit that bell. Damn, it didn't sound very good, but
not as crisp.
The hot take.
A little far from the mic, but yeah. So, and the defense, obviously, they got cooked a lot, but you know what? Gannon showed some promise in year 1, and I think they're building a good culture there, and they're on the right track.
I agree with you, Reagan, with a lot of what you said, man. I also have him at a C-. I do like what Jonathan Gannon's doing over there. Obviously, you mentioned the good teams they beat. I mean, they played hard, man. Like on paper, this is a really bad roster. Probably the worst roster in football on paper. You want to argue Carolina, but Carolina actually has some talent on that defense. But we expected them to be bad this year. We were having talks preseason about would you take Caleb Williams or stick with Kyler Murray, even though Kyler Murray's extension was kicking in. But ultimately, they didn't get the number 1 pick. They got the 4th pick. And Kyler looked pretty good when he got back. I'm not gonna lie, you were right, Reagan. I mean, we knew when they were starting the season with Joshua Dobbs and Clayton Tune, who you said offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I mean that was you know what? He went against a gaunty, scary Cleveland Browns defense in his first start. So it's not his
Was
fault.
it at home or away? Big difference, as
It
you
was
learned with the
away.
Pittsburgh
It was
game.
away. And also
Big difference, fair.
I just checked. It wasn't the Rams, it was Pittsburgh. So still three
Okay.
playoff teams they beat.
Oh, that's right. We knew they beat Pittsburgh. That's when Pittsburgh was like hitting the shit and they lost.
I
3
think that was a
games in row
Drock
to
lock.
bad teams.
Drock, what the hell? I'm almost positive that was your lock.
Yeah, wasn't a Cardinal spread? Was a Drock
Or
lock one
maybe
week?
that was a parlay pick.
No,
Oh, yeah, it might have been parlay.
Drock
pick.
never. Nah, Drock never took the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, it was
I'm
parlay.
pretty
pick.
sure you did. I'm almost
Yeah, it was
positive
parlay
you
pick.
did.
It
at
was a
some point.
parlay pick.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know because I
okay.
had the Steelers. I was like, dude, I don't.
Yeah, it
wanna
was Najee
hit it,
anytime
but-
and Cardinals plus 6.5.
Yep.
Cardinals cash, baby.
But yeah, I mean, the recovery of Kyler off the knee injury is a positive sign going forward. They better grab Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's on the board to replace Hollywood Brown. I'm sure they don't want to pay him. Obviously, got Paris Johnson last year at right tackle. They still got Humphreys at left tackle. But, you know, it's a bad beat that the Houston pick ended up being 27th. I don't think Arizona anticipated that. But, you know, they have a lot of draft capital, man. They got to build up that roster all over the place. But, yeah, C- because we didn't think they're going to be good, and they were maybe a tad better than we thought, picking 4th and not 1. But
And also when you don't have you don't have your starting quarterback to start the year, it's going to be tough to turn it around.
yeah, we knew they weren't going to be good.
And also, I was going to say, there's still a world where they trade out of 3 too. I mean, if a team wants to come up,
4.
or I'm sorry, 4, there's still a world where they trade out of 4. Like there's still
Yeah.
the
Will
possibility.
that be
I
for
don't think
JJ
they
McCarthy?
will. I don't think they will. I'd be shocked if a team was willing to give up a haul to move up to 4 for McCarthy or Penix or Bo Nix, but Penix and Bo Nix you can wait on. Even McCarthy you could wait on. So ideally, this team's getting Marvin Harrison. That seems like a shoo-in unless the Patriots shock the world and take him at 3. And then in that case, that would mean that then they could trade the pick away because then
they'll
the
trade-
bidding starts for
they'll
Drake
trade
May or
4.
Jaden Daniels. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
A lot of work has to be done on this roster before they're going to compete in this division, but not a bad spot. Not a bad spot. All right, Reagan, the
Segue into
Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks. This is your team. You were hyping up the Seahawks all year, and they finished 9-8. 21st in total offense, 17th in scoring. That defense that you said was so good. 30th in total, 25th in scoring. Reagan, what did you give your Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, I give them a D plus because they did win a decent amount of games and they started out hot, but at the end of the day, like you were in the playoffs last year, you paid Geno Smith. My words exactly weren't that they're a good defense. It was on paper they should be a good defense, and on paper, if you looked at that roster, like they should have been good. They have a lot of names on there, and it clearly didn't work out, and that's why we already see them clearing house. They like go of Diggs and Adams, so we already see them clearing house there. So yeah, it's a terrible season, a wasted season. Pete Carroll's gone, obviously, and they brought in why am I blanking on the Ravens OC, the young guy? I'm blanking out on his name right now. Yeah, Mike McDonald to be their coach. So I do like that hire a lot. Hopefully, I mean that's another team that could draft a quarterback too. Like I wouldn't rule them trading up and trying to get him. I mean, think about it. Like this is a dark horse team to trade up, but what about Daniels to Seattle?
I don't know. I don't know if they have. I mean, it'd be a lot for them to get up all the way to number 3, bro.
It would be a lot. It would be a lot, but that'd be a good fit. I like that a lot because he's no Lamar Jackson, but he could run a similar offense with him.
He could.
Lamar-esque.
Daniels does have that rushing upside. I will say. Oh, finish up, brother.
Oh no, I was gonna say obviously they have the running back duo over there. Even though I wouldn't say Charbonnet's a stud, not even close. But
yeah, that was a bad pick, man. That was a bad pick taking Charbonnet in the second round a year after you took Walker in the second round. Like, if you want to get some depth behind him, I feel like they should use a day 3 pick instead of a premium pick, which is a round 2 pick.
I will say, I think he's a guy you target in Dynasty because you can get him for mad cheap. Because I think he's going to run a similar system here where he's using multiple backs. I think it's going to be very, very similar to what he ran with the Ravens. So I think he's a guy to maybe target because dude, what do you got to give up a third? Like you're not going to have to give up like anything. So I think he's a sneaky pickup.
It's just funny because Coco moved in the first round last year in the Dynasty draft to take Charbonnet and gave up his first this year. Oh my God.
Yeah.
At least he got Laporte in the second. Coco.
Yeah,
So we're not
definitely
beating you up too much.
eases the blow.
But yeah,
Definitely eases the
Reagan,
blow.
I ended up on a C minus here. Obviously, missing the playoffs in a weak NFC, which a lot of people expected him to make the playoffs preseason.
I did. I thought they were
That's a
shooing for the
failure.
wild card.
That's a failure, man. And poor defensive line play. Not a great pass rush. The interior, even after they traded a second round pick to get Leonard Williams, didn't fix their issues. Now you do have Julian Love, who was a Pro Bowler last year at safety, but now no more Jamal Adams, no more Quandre Diggs. Secondary does need some work on the back end. Obviously, Witherspoon was a stud as a rookie. They hit on that pick. They took him number 5 overall last year, so that's solid. I do love Kenneth Walker. He's shown that although he's not an elite back yet, he's still a very good back as of right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say he's definitely like deserves to be a starter in this league, and he definitely shows a lot of flashes. I'd be happy with him as my starting running back. And also talking about the secondary, like Woolen had big regressions this year. Everyone was like, "Oh,
that's a negative, big negative."
Like what happened to all that talk of he's better than Sauce and he should have been the defensive rookie of the year? What happened? I mean, he had
What
one of the
happened?
worst, one of the
What
biggest,
happened?
yeah, exactly. He had one of the biggest sophomore slumps I've ever seen. I mean,
Yeah, he was
benched.
buns.
He got
He got
benched at
benched.
the end of the year. He was coming
He
off the
got
bench.
benched, bro.
He was the gunner. He was a gunner on their punts. Like that should not be a guy that was a Pro because he was a Pro Bowler his rookie year, I believe. So you're a Pro Bowler from a year ago who's young and is not regressing because of age should not be one of your outside guys going down for punts. So I don't know. They got a lot of things to figure out, but the secondary is kind of the biggest reason because when you have like I thought they were gonna be sick. Diggs, Woolen, Witherspoon, Adams, Love. I mean, those are 5 big name guys
on paper.
right there.
Yeah, on paper,
That was my thing coming into the year. On paper, they looked sick.
And Bobby Wagner running the defense.
I mean, he did have a good season.
He did have a good season, but
I-
it's like the defensive line, man. It really hindered this team.
Yeah. I don't. Did they end up giving Leonard Williams an extension? What's going
No,
on?
he's a free agent. He's a free agent.
He's a free
They gave
agent.
a second round. They gave up a second round pick to get Leonard Williams. Once they got him, they started losing games a lot, which I don't get the correlation there. It must have been the schedule or whatever, because obviously Leonard Williams was better than what they had. They started losing games and they fell out of the playoff race once they got Leonard Williams. Good for the Giants. We have a better pick, but yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, I'd imagine the goal would have been, hey, we'll win some games, we'll make the playoffs, we'll give this guy a contract, but that ain't
Didn't
happening.
work out. Also, Reagan, before we move on from Seattle, I want to highlight Geno Smith's regression this year. 2022, obviously, he said everyone wrote me off. I ain't right back. Well, did you write back this year, Geno? Because your splits were terrible compared to last year. Last year, 69.8% completion rate, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks. This year, completion percentage dropped by 5%. 5. That's a huge drop off down to 64.7. He had 600 less yards. He had 20 touchdowns and 9 picks compared to the year before. And they added JSN. They added Charbonnet. Not good, bro. I think Geno Smith hit his ceiling, which what was his ceiling with this team? How far could you possibly go? Granted, it was a great story last year. I'm not taking anything away from that. And it was a good stopgap when you trade away Russell Wilson and got all those picks. But I don't know, man. I think they need to find a solution sooner rather than later because this is a roster that can compete in the NFC, at least in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl contender or can get out of the NFC, but they should be a playoff team given the talent on this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you paid a guy who had 1 year of good production who previously did not have any good production. So obviously it wasn't the right move. I mean, what did you think at the time? Would you have paid him?
Well, they didn't pay him a big deal. It wasn't like 3 years, $75 million. It wasn't a lot guaranteed. So like after this year, they can get out and they're fine.
Yeah, I think it's funny, honestly, because I was trying to set you up there to say something because obviously your team's in the same exact boat as them.
Say we paid Daniel Jones a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's the same exact situation. It's a guy, and he's a little bit younger than Geno, but it's the same situation where a guy never had done anything, and then he had 1 good year, got his team in the playoffs, got paid the big contract. So,
and now you're like, shit, we need to get out.
Yeah, so obviously I think they're drafting a quarterback, or they're going to have to try to sign somebody else to compete with him because I don't know.
Penix.
I mean,
Michael Penix in the second. I wouldn't hate that.
In the second? You think he goes all the way to the second? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Penix goes in the first, bro.
I don't know. I think a team would be foolish to not take him in the late first just to have that 5th-year option.
Yeah, but there's a lot. I don't know. The medical concerns, and a lot of people are saying with Penix, when the pocket starts to break down, he gets flustered and he's inaccurate. But when he sits in a clean pocket, he obviously has a cannon of an arm. and that's when he torches those Pac-12 defenses. I personally don't think Penix's going to pan out in the league, but I think it's worth a dart throw on day 2 for a team like Seattle that doesn't have a long-term solution in place.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And obviously he's played college ball at Washington, so not like he has to go far. So I'm sure the fans would love that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. All right, Reagan, the Rams. I'm not gonna lie, man. One of the biggest surprises this season, finishing 10-7, 7th in total offense, 8th in scoring, 20th in total defense, 19th in scoring. What did you give the Rams?
Yeah, I think this has got to be a B minus.
A B minus?
Yeah, I think so because
Do you know what their over/under win total was?
no, I
Preseason?
know, but I kind of view
I
it.
would know because I took the under 6.5. They won 10
Yeah,
games, bro.
maybe a nah. I don't know because I'd say a B. Fine, a B. Maybe I was being a little low because it's still like they had a great year, but they're in a weak NFC, and it's kind of like what really is their ceiling? Like the defense is still not elite. Like they don't have a ton of guys there. Like obviously they hit on Kobe
Kobe Turner was a
Kobe
stud as a
Turner.
rookie from the interior,
So
had 9
obviously
sacks as a
obviously
third
they
round
hit on
rookie.
him. So that
Very
was huge.
impressive.
And obviously
Yep.
they have Aaron Donald, but they don't have a lot of guys on that defense. So I think next year is going to be a big issue. Cooper Kupp is aging and clearly regressed big even when he was healthy, he was not the same guy. But it's huge. I mean, hey, you hit on guys like Puka Nacua in the 5th. Kyron Williams was a 5th rounder just a year prior. So both of those guys, elite, like fantasy championship winners right there. Like if you have them both in Dynasty, like you're in a great spot. Not to stroke my own cock, but you're in a great spot. And it's interesting because how much longer is Stafford there? I really hope this is a team that will either take a shot on a quarterback in the 2nd, 3rd round to develop, or they go for a guy like Sam Howell or Zach Wilson and let him sit behind and like, hey, maybe you get something out of it. You're not going to have to give up much. I mean, more for Howell just because he showed more flashes than Wilson, and also he doesn't have that 1st round capital. He's a 5th round pick, but I don't know. But I think a B. I'll go with a B. You're right. I was a little low on them because they really did exceed a lot. But I don't know where do you kind of view them?
I gave him an A minus, man. I hated this team preseason, bro. The offensive line was not proven. It looked terrible. Like preseason rankings, offensive line, it was a bottom 5 offensive line. And the secondary, obviously, they traded away Jalen Ramsey. Taylor Rapp was gone. There was just a bunch of no names back there. It was like Aaron Donald and the band of boys. And obviously, when you hit on a guy like Kobe Turner to play next to Aaron Donald, awesome. I mean, the defense wasn't great, but it was better than I anticipated. And the offense, the way Sean McVay and that staff developed their young offensive linemen, it was phenomenal. Like as a fan of the Giants, when it doesn't matter where we take a guy, he could be picked 1st overall or last. Doesn't matter. The odds of him hitting are so low. For a team to take day 2 and 3 offensive linemen and develop them like they did, so Kyron Williams can have the year he did, so Stafford can have time to find Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee. I mean, that coaching staff is phenomenal. And as long as Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Donald are there and they're healthy, this team's going to be competitive. Now, that's the question, though. How much more do they have in the tank, Reagan? Let's be honest. Do the Rams have another year, maybe 2?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good question. And honestly, like I didn't say it before, but they really didn't beat anybody. Like all their wins, most of their wins were against cupcake teams, and all the good teams they played, they lost to. Like they beat Seattle. They didn't beat the 49ers either times. They lost to the Bengals. I mean, they were able to beat the Colts. That's a good win, but it was early on. Colts still were young, figuring it out. You lose to the Eagles, you beat the Cardinals, you lose to the Steelers, you lose to the Cowboys, you lose to the Packers, you beat the Rams. Congrats, you beat the Cardinals again. You beat the Browns.
They are the Rams. You said they beat the
Or,
Rams.
I'm sorry,
They
you
are
beat
the
the
Rams.
Cardinals again, yes. You beat the Cardinals in Seattle. So those are 4-year wins right there are Cardinals and Seattle. You beat the Commanders, you beat
Barely
the
beat the
Giants,
Giants.
you beat the Saints.
Barely beat the Giants.
And
Barely.
you beat the 49ers the last week of the season when they're benching everybody.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna
So-
drop them to a B plus after hearing that.
But
Reagan.
that's my thing. Their biggest win was over Cleveland. Like that was their biggest win.
Yeah, I'm dropping
And
them
that
to a
was
B
when
plus.
Joe
Me.
Flacco, and that was Joe Flacco's first game as a starter for the Browns.
Wow.
So that's kind of my whole thing. Like, yes, they did have a good record, but if I'm gonna fault the Bucks for not doing enough with with the easy schedule they had, I gotta hold the Rams accountable. Like it's kind of like a Lamecki 10-7.
You're a good man for that. I'm sure the Rams fans appreciate you for doing that, bro.
I mean, dude, they didn't beat anybody. They couldn't beat anybody. Like they lost to the 49ers, you lose to the Bengals, you lose to the Eagles, you lose to the Steelers, you lose to the Cowboys, you lose to the Packers. Like they lose to all these playoff teams. You lose to the Ravens. Your two biggest wins were against the 49ers when they were benching everybody and the Browns. You beat, like, realistically, I'm giving you one win that counts as like a playoff team.
Yeah, and then obviously they lost to the Lions, but I don't know. I did
And, yeah,
settle down to a B
obviously.
plus. You convinced me, but for a team that preseason was projected to be a bottom, probably 7-8 team in the league, to still make the playoffs is a successful season. And Sean McVay did say this team rejuvenated him because he was mulling retirement after the Super Bowl win. Like he almost felt burnt out. Aaron Donald was debating retirement, but at least this season kind of got the boys back into it. At least they can give it another go next year.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'm faulting them. I will give them credit. They beat the teams they were supposed to beat. Like it wasn't like they were like having any fluke games. Like pretty much every game you were supposed to win, you won. So that's big.
Yeah,
But
that's a
at
good
the end
point
of the
too.
day, like it's just mediocrity if you look at it.
It is. Like, what is their ceiling now? You know what I mean? And it's funny. You know what
I think
also
they're
is
at
funny?
their ceiling. Like the same with the Bucks, they're at their ceiling. I don't think it gets much better than this. Like they can compete for a wild card. They're in the NFC. It's weak. Like that, you put those teams in the AFC, and it's obviously it's a hypothetical. They're not making the playoffs. They're a bottom 3 team potentially.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And you know what else is funny, Reagan? After they won the Super Bowl, and the whole thing was, with Les Snead and McVay, fuck those picks. The reason they were good this year was because they hit on their draft picks.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, and honestly, like all this aside, like kind of knocking them and giving them their credit, doesn't matter. You got the Super Bowl. Who gives a crap? Same with the Bucks. Does not matter. And honestly, hey, you're watching your team make the playoffs after you should not even be close to it. So at the end of the day,
Exactly. They're not supposed to be here. Like the Bucks, it's rebuilding
house
after you went all in. You pushed all the chips on the table. You won. You're supposed to be at home now, chilling. But yeah, good for them, man. Good for them making the playoffs. All right, Reagan. Last but not least, the Niners, 12-5, obviously losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 4 years after they lost the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Offensively, second in total, third in scoring. Defensively, eighth in total, third in scoring. I'm curious for this one, man. What did you give the Niners?
B plus, because yeah, you went 12-5, but you almost lost to the Packers. You almost lost to the Lions. You blew a lead against the Chiefs. You really didn't look like the same. You honestly, the whole in all 3 of those games, they did not look like the team we saw in the regular season at all. And I know playoff football is a different animal, but they didn't even look close to it. They looked like a shell of themselves. Like, it's all fun and games in the regular season when you're dominating all these teams, but then you get to the playoffs and it's like, what's good with your defense? You're getting cooked. They made Jordan Love.
Defense getting cooked.
They just got Jordan Love and Jared Goff an extra 5 years, $5 million per year right there. You think I'm joking, but both those guys are going to get much bigger contracts because of the games they had against the 49ers. In a loss. So, yeah, but their defense got torched. I mean, they looked best in the Super Bowl on the defensive side, and they still didn't look amazing. And the offense clearly looked very one-dimensional once they got there. Like it was McCaffrey or bust in all those games, honestly. So outside of like a fluky Brandon Ayuk catch, he didn't really do much in the playoffs, and neither did Debo.
And Kittle. They were quiet. They were quiet.
And Kittle was very quiet. This podcast.
We would know. We would know.
So to me, yeah, B plus, and that might be no, that's not generous. That B plus, maybe you could say A minus because at the end of the day, like they did get to the Super Bowl. Like, who cares how pretty it was? They got to the Super Bowl.
There you go. I have an A minus. They did get to the Super Bowl, Reagan. I mean, although they fell short yet again, Shanahan couldn't get over the hump. It's hard to give them lower than that for me, considering they lost to Mahomes, and there's no shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes. Let's be honest. Also, Purdy showed that the year before was not a fluke, although I don't consider him elite. He's more than capable of running this offense. He can spread the ball around. He can read the defense. He understands Shanahan's complex scheme. So you got to tip the cap to him for that. Obviously, McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year, best running back in football, called it. Offensive Player of the Year, Reagan, preseason. Ayuk had 1,350 yards, led the league in yards per catch. Debo had a really good stretch mid to end of the year. Now, for this team to improve, obviously you're losing Chase Young, although it looked like he wasn't even trying in the postseason at times. But I'd like to see him add another pass rusher opposite of Bosa, and they got to fix the right side of that offensive line to help keep Purdy clean because that almost broke down on him in the Super Bowl a little bit. And I think that was a big factor. The Chiefs were able to get it done and address the secondary a little bit more too. But Yeah, I mean, preseason expectations, it was Super Bowl or bust. They lost in the Super Bowl to the greatest quarterback of our generation. Tough beat. I landed on A minus.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, honestly, I might be being a little nitpicky, but it's just the fact that like he just got there in such an ugly fashion.
No, I hear
But
you, man. I hear you.
I mean,
Falling
I will
short yet
say
again.
like Brock Purdy's definitely that guy. Like he's legit. I think he silenced a lot of the haters with the playoff run. Because even in the Super Bowl, like he looked good to me. I don't really blame that on him. I'd say that's
He
more the
missed a
play
couple
calling.
throws, but he had Chris Jones like in his mitt. You know what I mean? Like,
Also, I don't know. I thought the play calling was pretty stagnant too. Like I don't. He doesn't call the plays at the end of the day. Like I didn't feel like they manufactured enough touches for Debo and Kittle. Like you're not gonna. I mean, Ayuk they could do more too, but they always have those kind of gadget plays for Kittle and Debo, and we didn't see a lot of them, at
no,
least
we
in the
didn't.
third, fourth quarter. So I don't know. Play calling definitely was a big issue to me, but Purdy's definitely the guy. I think they got themselves a starter for a long time there.
I hear you, brother. And it helps that he's the cheapest quarterback in the league for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's nice being irrelevant.
It is.
And now
Sometimes
he's relevant.
it is. All right, guys, that wraps up our grades. We're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to come back with trivia. All right, Felters, we are back for trivia. I'm up 2-1 in the postseason. Reagan, you got me in the preseason, but I'm running away with this one.
You're up
NFC
3-1.
West. Drock, how many questions we got?
You're up 3-1.
We got
I'm up
15
3-1?
questions.
Yeah, this is our fifth
Oh,
division.
this is the fifth one, huh?
Yeah, because remember we did I won the AFC North, and then we
Yeah.
did the East.
NFC South, AFC South, NFC East. Yeah, both South. Yeah, so this
You're
is
up
the
3-1.
3-1.
Because we did the North like before the Super Bowl.
Whooping that ass. Whooping that
All right.
ass.
Let's kick it off with
Kick it. Oh,
who had the most amount of tackles? Reagan.
Bobby Wagner.
Bang!
I knew that
go.
one too.
Hey, Bobby, bitch.
Drock, I think you get your glasses changed, bro. My hand was definitely up first.
On my screen, I was up first.
No, on my screen, I was up first.
All right. For the next question we got, who got sacked the most? Colin. All right, timeout. We got to
Geno
address
Smith.
it. Wrong. It's got to
What
be.
did
You have 3 seconds. on
That
the
wasn't
clock
even
once
3
raise your
seconds.
hand.
You go. I had
Yeah.
1.5 seconds. You're like,
I agree with Dave.
"Ooh."
No, you were sitting there just like,
You were sitting
Let
there for
me
long enough
think.
to wait. But now
Let
the new
me
rule
think.
is 3's a little long because you could sit there. So let's go
Can
2
I-
seconds.
all right, Stafford.
Correct.
Fuck.
2-0.
We're in a hole. We're in a hole.
Question number 3. Who had the most amount of fumbles? Shoot it.
James Conner.
Wrong.
Bro, he was like hurt for a while. Gino.
Wrong. Kyle Murray.
I mean, there's no Kyle Murray, but there's a
Kyler
Kyler.
Murray.
Sorry. What?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Said Kyle Murray.
Kyle
Oh.
Murray's probably some white dude who works at State Farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah, you just
I
said,
didn't-
oh, he was out for a lot of the year. Kyler Murray missed half the season and led
yeah,
the
well,
division in
yeah,
fumbles.
but in fairness, like I knew it was going to be a quarterback, like a running back who's out half the year, like would not have a job if you've had like 5-6 fumbles. I didn't realize Kyler fumbled that much. That's crazy.
I know Connor does have fumbling problem. All right.
4th. Who had the longest reception in the division? Oh man. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot it right now.
Rock, paper, scissors,
shoot.
shoot.
Oh, you were so late. Did you go scissors too?
I
Both
did, yeah.
scissors.
All right. Rock,
Run it again.
paper,
Paper,
scissors, shoot. Oh,
Bang.
dude, he was so late. He
Let's
was
go,
so late.
Reagan.
Puka.
Correct.
Is that who you're going to guess?
No.
All right, so no harm, no foul.
I'm gonna be honest. You know, I don't lie in this podcast. I was gonna go.
I should
DK.
have been nice guy and be like, I was nice guy, and you got it wrong.
Yeah, Reagan's on a
3-0.
roll.
Who are we gonna
Yeah.
guess?
How many
3-0.
How many questions do you have?
15.
I'm up
Okay, yeah,
3-0.
it's only 4. That's only 4.
Okay. With the 5th question, who had the most interceptions?
Stafford.
Oh, you talking about passing or who like actually had the most interceptions on
No,
defense?
who on defense?
On
Oh,
defense.
okay, that
on
doesn't count then
defense.
because I thought he was talking about quarterback. But that's what I was saying the other day. You got to make it more like
Yeah, my bad. I
like
just
who had
threw
the
it into
most who had the most picks or I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, you got to word it differently, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
I'm between two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't said anybody yet, but you know what? I will take my guess. I'll go with Witherspoon.
Wrong.
That was one of my picks, and I thought you were gonna take him. I want to go Buda Baker.
Wrong.
Damn,
Dude, what?
bro.
Buda Baker was also like injured at times. I feel like it is a Cardinal though. It might be a Cardinal.
Charvarius Ward.
Oh, all
No,
right.
he's a
not
Niner.
Confirmed, not a Cardinal. Okay.
Okay. Question number 6. Who put up the most amount of points as a kicker? Reagan.
Oh my God. What? Oh my God. I was gonna. You know who I was
Don.
gonna say? He's on the
Colin.
Colts. Bro, yeah, Colin can step. I still get the guess, but Colin can now go.
You can't get a guess. You just lost your right.
I think you lost your right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
You
that.
lost your right.
Oh my
If
God.
you don't
I'm, like,
answer in 2
blanking out
seconds,
on
it's
the
not you.
kickers. Oh
All
my
right,
God, I know
Moody?
who it is.
Wrong.
Jake Myers.
Jason. Yeah.
Or Jason Myers. Damn it, bro.
Jason-
Oh my, why did I
Jason
raise
Myers,
my
yeah.
hand? I raised my hand, just fully ready to say Matt Gay, but he's on the Colts now. He's not even on the Rams anymore. And then I was like, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know what you were doing, bro.
All
No
right,
idea.
Still 3-0.
Hey, it's always
Um,
it's a win at
I'm
this point
choking,
if you
bro.
don't get it
I don't know
right.
my West Coast football like my East Coast football, apparently.
We're staying on the West here. Which 49er led the team in tackles? Colin.
Fred Warner.
Correct.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. It's all
Cupcake.
right.
Call me Cupcake
Whatever.
Colin. Don't call me that. Don't call me that ever.
Nope, you heard it. Clip it. Dave, clip
Clip
that
it.
and post it. You
Oh
actually have to
no,
clip
that's
that.
the clip. That's the clip that blows up. Is me saying that? Could you imagine?
3-1. How many fumbles did Kyron Williams have?
You're
Shoot
just
it,
guessing,
Reagan.
bro.
2.
Correct.
Both in the same game.
Hey, there you go.
Respect.
I think they were against the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, too. I believe that was the game. I'm almost positive it was against the Giants, and that was kind of half the reason you guys were in it was because Kyron kept fumbling it. And they were saying
Yeah,
on the
he did fumble
broadcast
against
he
the
hadn't
Giants,
fumbled all season, and then he fumbled twice in that game, and he was all like pissed off. But hey,
Yep.
I know ball.
All right, 4-1.
Yep. On to the 9th question. How many touchdowns did Drew Lock have? Throwing and rushing. Go, Reagan.
Oh, throwing and rushing. Okay.
Yeah.
He had 4.
Wrong.
3.
Correct.
Yeah. He
And
went off.
4-2.
He went off.
I knew
against
that.
the
I
Eagles.
knew that.
I think he had
4-2.
2
We right back
against
in it.
2 or 3 against the
We're
Eagles.
right back in it. Game
No,
winning.
2.
Game winning touchdown pass
4-2.
against the
Hey,
Eagles.
4-2.
Reagan,
4-2.
you cannot let Colin come back from this.
Okay, it's 4-2.
On to the 10th question. How many passing touchdowns did Joshua Dobbs have?
Wait, like,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm gonna
Oh.
guess. Is it just
I
with the
said
Cardinals?
passing.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm saying
for the Cardinals only or for the whole season?
For the Cardinals only.
okay. 5.
Wrong.
8.
Correct.
Wow.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
Such a guess. Such a guess. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I mean-
Such a guess. And we're right back in this thing.
Those are the guess. Those are the guess
Such a
questions.
guess.
Like those. There's no like.
4. All right. On to the 11th question. 4-3. These are now Aussie's questions. Who
We
had the second most sacks as a defensive player in the NFC West this season?
So not the number
Second
1 guy, but the
most
number 2
sacks.
guy.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, but go for it.
Kobe Turner.
Correct.
Come on, it's 4-4. Yeah, Bosa was 1, Turner was 2.
Yeah,
Come on.
I knew
4-4.
Bosa obviously was 1.
4-4. How many questions are left, bro?
4.
4.
Wow.
4 for 4.
Hey,
It's
still a
coming
lot
down
of
to the
runway,
wire.
bro. Still a lot of
It's coming
runway.
down to the wire.
Come on,
All right.
dude. I'm amped now. We're right back in this.
Wait till I finish the full question. Which player from the NFC West led the league in yards after the catch in the after? Whoa, never mind. I think he
Brock?
read it. No, he left it wrong. He ordered it wrong. I guess you could just say which player led the league in yards after. Which player from that division led the league in yards? Yeah, he ordered it wrong.
Led the league in receiving yards?
Receiving yards, yeah.
Oh, Puka.
You didn't raise your
You
hand,
didn't
dude.
raise your hand,
You
though.
didn't raise your hand. Puka Nakua. Come on, bro.
That
You
was a
just
tough one.
screamed it. That was me. That's
Bro,
me. 5-4.
Mm.
5-4.
Awesome. Austin, I'm sorry, but that question was worded wrong.
It's all right, Austin. I forgive you. I'm up 5-4.
I'm gonna
5-4.
lose because I gave him the answer. I mean, you probably would have got it anyway.
I knew
but
Puka Nakua.
yeah.
We had the argument about Nakua and Ayuk today. Like, come on, dude. Obviously, it was Puka. It's an easy question.
All right, 13th question, 5-4, Colin. Which NFC West team had the highest red zone efficiency percentage in the season? Reagan.
49ers.
Attaboy. Let's
I mean,
go.
that was
I don't
you
know,
got
probably the number 2 offense.
yeah, but I
in
mean,
the
you
league.
got Fred Warner. That was a cupcake one too.
Oh yeah, Cupcake Reagan.
2 more
All right,
questions
2 more.
left.
Oh boy.
Which team had the most punt yards in the NFC West? Reagan.
God. Cardinals.
Wrong.
Wow.
Oh wow. I was like, damn. I'm gonna go Seattle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, down to the
Pretty good.
last.
I
Down
thought
to
it was.
last.
I thought it was Arizona for sure.
I mean, yeah, that would be the easy yes.
Wow, this is a good one. With the last question for Reagan to take the tie.
Well, you'll have to come up with something.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to think of something, bro.
Yeah, if he gets
Don't
it.
worry, Drucker. I won't put the pressure on you. We won't come to that. I'll get this.
Or I just won't get it. Neither. of
Which
us will.
team had the second most rushing yards per game? Reagan.
Seattle.
On. Wrong.
Rush yards per game in the league or in the division?
Whoa, if we're doing division questions, it's always division.
Yeah,
Second most rush yards per game in the division.
I know
Well,
who it is
it
now.
can't be San Francisco. San Francisco's 1. It's not Seattle. It's the Rams.
Wrong.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because dude, Connor was going off on a tear at the end.
Yeah, but
and
think of
adding in
Kyron
Kyler.
Williams.
Yeah, but you got to add in Kyler. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I guess
the
so.
overall team. It's not just the running back. Like Stafford adds nothing.
That's a sneaky question, bro. That's a sneaky
There were a couple
question.
sneaky ones. The last 2 were sneaky. Damn. All right, I lost all because
6-5. What a comeback!
I
Remember, it
lost
was
all
4-1. Dave's like, "You better not let Colin come back."
Well,
what a big
you
dog
know,
do.
I mean, I
Come
choked
on.
that so hard because I could have
4-1.
easily raised my hand and won, but I sat here, said Puka, and then you raised your hand. You're like, you just didn't raise your hand.
Yeah, you cheated. So
Wow.
sorry. That sucks. 4-1, Reagan.
No,
You have
I'm
to
not.
win
I'm
out.
not. I'm not making excuses. Like you won. You did.
You have to win out to tie now.
Yeah, but
That
I'm
won't
still up
happen
1-0
either.
in the trivia series, so it's okay. Did 1-0.
Yeah, you're up 1-0 the series. It's
And that was with an extra game. We had a fantasy football one. Nice 6-3'd your ass.
Yeah, you did 6-3 my ass, but I'm about a 7-1 your dumb ass. How about that? Reagan, what division's next? You know what division's next?
Yeah, so a lot of you have been asking what division's next. That's been a hot topic. That was actually the last question I
All
was
over
asked
Twitter.
recently.
All over
but yeah,
Twitter.
no. I mean, you guys have been asking. We've been telling you that we're gonna get back to you soon with that, and that answer would be the AFC West.
The AFC West, the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champs, the Chargers, the dumpster fire of a season, the Broncos. Oh, we get to really shit on the Broncos and what they're doing. Then obviously
so
the
I think-
Raiders.
Yeah, so we got the AFC West. We're also going to do an MLB preview. We're not going to get into the divisions and stuff like that. It's going to be more of a kind of us predicting the awards and kind of what
Just
teams.
talking about how good my fantasy team is after I
Yeah,
draft
maybe we'll
last
talk
night.
a little bit of fantasy. We'll predict some awards. Maybe do a little play like our 6 playoff teams. Definitely not in depth as we did with the NFL. I know me personally, I'm not nearly as knowledgeable in the MLB as I am the NFL, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, for me, it's not even close. But
Why not talk about something?
Why not talk some ball? You know, we love talking ball. We'll talk some baseball. We'll be in the Bronx a lot this year. Corbin Carroll MVP, Zach Allen, Cy Young in the NL.
So
Come
maybe we'll do that for the second pod in that week, just because opening day technically is March 20th because they're doing a Korean series between the Dodgers and the Padres, so they'll both have 2 games in before any other team has played 1. So
that is pretty cool.
we kind of have to do it before that. So maybe we'll do that as the second pod next week, and then after that, March Madness bracket comes out March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Instead of going out and partying, we're gonna be here breaking down the bracket. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do not have off on March 18th, so I will be hanging home.
I do not. That is ZT's birthday though, March 18th. So I'm sure.
Oh,
I'll
so
be pumped
maybe
for that.
maybe we'll see. Maybe if the Sparties get a little Irish magic,
Yeah,
we'll have a happy ZT.
Sparty's got to get in, man. They got to get in. They're
So
slumping.
Mix it up a little bit. Talk some other sports, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll mix it up. We got to finish our division series. So
And-
we got 3 more. Free agency will be underway in a week and a half, and then
Yep.
obviously it's draft season. We have a lot of fun shit planned for draft season. We'll do a little mock draft. You know how we roll.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The mock draft. And we were talking about it. We're gonna do a mock draft. Where we're gonna bring on a couple guys. Maybe we're thinking like 8 guys. Every
in total.
Every guy is 4 teams. So if you're interested in being a part of that, hit up one of us. We'd love to have you on to do it. So, and then we'll figure out the
As
order.
of right now, we have 2 slots filled. So we have 4 more slots for guys that want to be a part of the mock draft.
Who's filled?
Walmart and Hafe are both in. They've already committed.
I know Garrett's definitely in too.
Kenny's in as well.
definitely
Kenny's in
in,
as
yeah.
well. That's 6 guys. So we have 2 slots open if you want to be a part of our mock draft. We still got to figure out the format if we just want to do random teams for everybody, but then someone might get screwed with like all later picks, or if we want to do like per.
No, I think I think it's if you have the first pick, then you have the 9th.
Yes. Okay, we'll do that.
Like, I
first,
think it's
yeah. We'll
'cause
randomize.
I think it should
the
be
8.
like, yeah, we'll randomize the 8, but then I think you should be talking, and then you have to wait till your next turn. Like it's not snake; it just keeps going because
Yes.
obviously we don't want to hear some guy go on a rant for like 2 minutes, and then he has to go right into another rant. But also like he can kind of dictate. You have no dictation of like what's going to be available then.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not like
So-
you're like, oh well, in 3 picks, I want to take this guy for this team. Yeah. So we'll do.
So I'm gonna
We'll randomize the 8, and then do you pick every 8 after that? So if you get the first pick, it's actually funny. If you pick for the Bears at 1, you also pick for the Bears at 9.
Yeah, I'll take 3 because then I get 10.
I'll take
So-
6.
Wait, no, that's completely wrong. No, I'll take 2.
Oh my god, bro! 3
Fuck.
plus 8 equals 10. Go Redhawks! That wraps up this episode of Around the Felt. We'll catch you next week.